Before we take a look at the latest into Nebraska's search to replace Scott Frost as the head coach of the Cornhuskers, do want to hit you with today's poll question because we'll be talking about Urban Meyer as well as Matt Campbell. If you were leading the search committee to find the next head coach and it were down to these two candidates, who are you going with? UM for Urban Meyer, MC for Matt Campbell? Let me know in the comment section. Let's start today's show. You're watching College Football Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you out there are having a fantastic start to your week. And no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, greatly appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. So over the weekend, as we covered yesterday, Scott Frost was relieved of his duties as the head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And for a guy who used to play there as a player during his college days before he transferred out, played a couple of years in the National Football League, he just didn't live up to expectations and the expectations that were put on him to kind of revive the program. So now with him out, after they gave him that $15 million buyout to just cut their losses and say, you know what, Scott Frost, you lose to Georgia Southern, we're done with you. Now the focus shifts to who is going to replace him. And could it be Urban Meyer? There's speculation out there that he could replace Scott Frost. But does Nebraska also have its guy who's not Urban Meyer? We'll get to that at the end of the show. But we, of course, begin with Urban Meyer, who right now not employed by any college football program. Instead, he's just back in the broadcasting world where I actually think he's pretty solid. Why Urban to Nebraska? So he's done a masterful job rebuilding programs all throughout his college coaching career. We know that his stint with the Jacksonville Jaguars was absolutely disastrous, but at the college ranks, this guy has been a really special program leader. Nebraska has been willing to invest in the program and spend some money on coaches in the past. They gave Scott Frost a pretty good contract that this didn't work out. Now it takes them to a desperation level in which they're really trying to get it right to bring this program back that's been down in the dumps for a little while. And could Nebraska really take a big swing here, make a monster splash, and just offer Urban Meyer a ridiculous contract to have him come back to bring Nebraska back? This is something that Paul Finebaum of ESPN said recently. Quote, there's really only one elite coach right now that I think is capable of changing a program. I'll try not to completely throw up my breakfast as I utter the two words, Urban Meyer. I'm not even sure he can do it, but I think he certainly, and since he'll be in Lincoln this weekend, maybe we'll get him to comment on it. There are a few game changers in college sports. One of them, hey, it's Urban Meyer. I don't know about the fit, but he's the kind of coach. If you're looking to change the dynamic, unless you're in the NFL, he's still a good coach in college football, but is Lincoln the kind of place that Urban can fit in? He would certainly be on my short list. And you really do have to differentiate Urban Meyer, the college football coach, from Urban Meyer, the NFL coach. I mean, an unmitigated, no doubt disaster with Jacksonville. From the cultural standpoint, to X's and O's, to not knowing players on the roster, to kicking the damn kicker on the Jags. But what you can't deny is that Urban Meyer, a fabulous college coach, and you can make the argument, outside of Nick Saban, one of the best to ever do it. Now, a lot left to get to on the show. First, though, want to gauge where our audience is at. We've done a lot of college football coverage in the past, and we've seen great levels of success with it. If you want us to do even more college football coverage, show us by hitting that thumbs up icon and liking the video. Urban Meyer as a college head coach. Can't deny all the success that's taken place literally everywhere he's been, to really resounding and profound levels. Got his collegiate head coaching career start at Bowling Green, 73% winning percentage at 17-7, pretty solid, nearly 74% actually. At Utah, that's really where he started to make a lot of headway and turn some heads with what he was able to do in resurrecting that program. 22-2 with a winning percentage at nearly 92%, goes down to Florida, and this is really where he burst onto the national scene, 65-15, as he won more than 81% of his games. And I find this to be ridiculous. Ohio State is a blue blood college football program, but to win 90% of your games really is impressive on so many levels. And of course, the national championships combined with the Ohio State Buckeyes as well as with the Florida Gators. With Urban, and Paul Finebaum kind of hit this, would he be a personality fit in that part of the country, with that program, with that fan base, considering that Urban Meyer no doubt has a little bit of baggage? Nebraska, are they going to be willing to pay up? That's really what could sway Urban Meyer from just staying in the broadcasting world and not getting back into college coaching to him maybe being convinced to become a college head coach. And if he's looking for a professional change and he's looking for a new challenge in his life, overturning Nebraska, that's a pretty appealing uphill task that if you pull it off, my gosh, people will still further solidify him as one of the greatest college coaches that we'll ever see. And what could have sent ripple effects throughout the college football atmosphere and what could have set the foundation here is the contract for Dabo Swinney, the extension that he just signed with Clemson. He's going to have an average annual value of about $11.5 million, and something tells me Urban at the negotiating tables with Nebraska could say, you know what, he's getting $11.5. I want something in that neighborhood, and Nebraska, if they're desperate enough to bring that program back, maybe they'll go big fish hunting. As for Scott Frost, there's no doubt I think that Urban Meyer would be able to do a lot better than this, just never lived up to those lofty expectations. He was not the alum that did bring the Huskers back. 4-8 in 2018. You're like, okay, first year, that's fine. 2019, some concerns start to come to the forefront as he only went 5-7. 2020, the COVID year, 3-5. Last year, 3-9. But if you look at some of the deep dive numbers, they were like in the plus category in outscoring their opponents, yet they lost so many close games and still fell to 3-9 despite outscoring their opponents. That right there, folks, is crazy. And Scott Frost, it comes down to him just not being a quality head coach and not being able to iron out the wrinkles and have a good feeling for that program. It's just inexcusable at the end of the day. And then 1-2 this year before he was booted. And it is kind of hilarious how college football worlds collide. As Clay Helton gets fired from USC, he goes to Georgia Southern, and you're like, Georgia Southern from USC? That right there is a huge change. And Clay Helton is the guy who ended Scott Frost. And for Nebraska to witness Georgia Southern taking down Nebraska at home, straight up brutal. Coming up next on the show, we've talked about Urban Meyer up to this point, but does Nebraska already have its guy in mind who's not Urban Meyer? Stick around for that. But first, college football is dramatic every single week, and that makes betting on the games even that much more interesting. Get signed up with our sportsbook partner, BetUS, if you head to chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125 for a 125% deposit bonus. Let's just say that you're looking at the NCAA title odds, and you're looking at Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, and USC. USC in there, interestingly enough, and Michigan not, is kind of weird, honestly. But you're like, okay, USC, let's take a waiver on them. Put $1 down. If USC wins the Natty, you get $12 back. That's actually pretty good value. The same can be said there for Clemson, too. So get those bets in with our sportsbook partner, chatsports.com/bet, promo code chat125. And if you put down $100 using that link in that promo code, you get an additional $125 back. Now we shift gears with this Nebraska conversation to Matt Campbell, Iowa State head coach. This coming from Lars Anderson, and I was cracking up when I saw this tweet, just with how he phrased it. News. I've never claimed to be a breaking news person, but here we go. Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell is the primary target for Nebraska. It is highly expected that Campbell will eventually be the next head coach of the Huskers. And then this also was something interesting that I want to turn the clocks back to August 27th. Big Game Boomer saying this, I'm sorry, but the Scott Frost era at Nebraska needs to end right now. What a train wreck. If I'm the Huskers, I go across the border with a blank check and do whatever it takes to get Matt Campbell to come to Lincoln. So embarrassing. And I can see why a lot of Nebraska folks would like Matt Campbell. There's that regional vicinity there that is certainly appealing when you have an understanding of that recruiting region, but also just the area as a whole. But also you have that national outreach like Matt Campbell has been able to have. that's alluring to a certain degree. And Matt Campbell has maxed out at Iowa State. What he's been able to do with that program is really impressive in Ames. And for Campbell, you've probably reached your ceiling at Iowa State. You've probably done everything that you can in the Big 12 in winning as many games as he has. I don't know if you're going to get that much better as a national power. That potential, though, is certainly there for Nebraska if Matt Campbell were to go across the border and go to Nebraska. And as people, this is kind of human nature, right? We all want to explore new professional challenges. If you're in your workplace right now and things are growing a little bit stale and a little bit stagnant, there's a part in you, even if you've had a lot of success at that job, that wants to explore new horizons and explore a new challenge. And for Matt Campbell, as a head coach, you're always uber competitive. Why not try to turn around Nebraska like you did with Iowa State and embark on a new professional challenge? What he's been able to do in Ames really is impressive. Takes over in 2016. Program was a dumpster fire. Goes 3-9 in his debut season. But from 3 wins to 8 in the span of just 2 seasons goes to show you what Matt Campbell can bring to the table. Just maximizes the players on that roster with a lot of limitations at Iowa State in the Big 12 because you're not getting some of the big recruits that are also out there. And then you start to progress in his tenure. 2018, 8-5 again. 2019, 7-6. Best year as a collegiate coach for him in terms of his stint in Ames. 2020, 9-3 with the Fiesta Bowl victory over Oregon. And then this past year, 2021, 7-6. So for Matt Campbell, I'd certainly think about it. And the check, if it's a blank check, like Boomer Sooner said, and you might be able to get the bag, why not? I mean, shoot, it'd make things a lot more interesting in the college football landscape. So let me pop up our poll question once again. And if you didn't answer it before, I want you to answer it right now. Who would you hire? UM for Urban Meyer, MC for Matt Campbell. Chime in, sound off, join the conversation. And as always, appreciate all of you for watching us here on Chat Sports.